Shakespearean Tragedy. There are four prominent tragedies of William Shakespeare. They are Hamlet, King Lear, Othello, and Macbeth. Though the theme of these tragedies may be different, all of them are built upon a common plan of characterization and plot. Characterization plays a vital role in a Shakespearean tragedy. There are some important characteristics of Shakespearean tragedy regarding characterization. They are as follow. 1. Key figure. The hero and his character is the central theme of Shakespearean tragedy. The other characters are secondary and they help only to provide the link in the story of his fate. The male characters are so important that the plays are named after them. In the love tragedies like Romeo and Juliet and Antony and Cleopatra, both the hero and heroine are important. Therefore, these tragedies are also named after both of them. The theme of Hamlet, Othello, King Lear and Macbeth are hatred and revenge, jealousy and suspicion, envy and ingratitude and ambition and intrigue respectively. High status of the hero. In Shakespearean tragedy, the hero is not an ordinary mortal, he is a distinguished person of great public importance. The hero's fatal flaw. The most important characteristic of Shakespearean tragedy is the hero's fatal flaw in his character. Though the tragic hero possesses many noble qualities, he suffers for some major weakness in his character that is the cause of his undoing. The indecisive nature of Hamlet, the jealousy and suspicion of Othello, the overriding ambition of Macbeth and envy and ingratitude of King Lear are the fatal flaws in their characters. Many a time, the hero is egged on to his crimes by other characters as in the case of Macbeth and Othello. But it is the inherent weakness in the hero's characters that ultimately brings about the catastrophe. Fate and character. Another characteristic of the Shakespearean tragedy is the part played by fate and character. Luck and destiny is the greatest factor that encloses the happiness of man. This is quite evident from the roles played by chance and the supernatural elements in these tragedies. The witches in Macbeth, the ghost of Hamlet's father, and the loss of handkerchief in Othello bring about that destruction. The hero is placed in such circumstances that he cannot help it. His character involves his fate. Thus, destiny as character is proved in case of Shakespeare's tragic heroes. Plot of Shakespearean tragedy. Romantic structure. Another important aspect of Shakespearean tragedy is its romantic structure. Shakespeare did not follow the classical dramatic unities of place, time and action. He wanted to poise Elizabethan spectators who did not like loose plots. External and internal conflict. There is an external and internal conflict in Shakespearean tragedy. Physically, the hero has to face one or two groups opposed to him, and internally he is sharply divided against himself. Finally, he suffers defeat both internally and externally. Rise and fall of fortune. Another essential part of tragedy is the rise and fall of fortune in the life of the hero. The plays have situations providing contrast between triumph and disaster. When the hero is on the peak of good fortune and success, he has to meet failure and misfortune. Such a fall of the hero evokes sympathy and pity in the minds of the spectators. Many victims and bloodshed. There are many victims in Shakespearean tragedy, but these deaths of so many characters at the end of the play not make us sad or gloomy. In his tragedies, Shakespeare never allowed an impression being created that the good is perished and the evil is victorious. This is the uplifting effect of Shakespearean tragedy. The plot construction of Shakespearean tragedy is just like that of his comedy. It is composed of three parts: exposition, conflict and crisis, followed by catastrophe. Most of the writers trod on the path of Shakespeare while writing tragedy.